It's the All Jammed Up podcast, and I'm Clint Dodson.
Well, I heard old Leadfoot coming from a mile and a half away. I stepped out on the street there, and here's what I had to say. I said, hey now, slow that old thing down. This city ain't your highway, you're tearing up my town. Now Leadfoot, racing for my son. Got a 502 in the North Bell, he's letting the ponies run.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, Junior. Today is Thursday, January 23rd, and this is the second episode of the All Jammed Up podcast. Thank you guys all who listened to the first one. We had some pretty good views. I was pretty happy with it. But before we get into some things today, I just wanted to do some quick housekeeping, I guess you could call it. First things first is the schedule. I know I originally said this was going to come out on Mondays, and today is Thursday, so maybe you're wondering what the hell I'm doing. Well, I did a poll on Instagram on Monday, and it was kind of split between people wanting it twice a week or just whenever they're ready. So I kind of took both of those things, and I figured people want more content, but they also want things to kind of be on a schedule so they can look forward to it, know when it's coming. So I've made the executive decision to go ahead and upload new episodes on Mondays and Thursdays. So we'll get twice a week, brand new interviews every week. Going forward, Mondays and Thursdays, new podcast will be going out. Up next, I wanted to give a quick shout out to John Larson, or as you guys may know him on Instagram, Moon Champs. I had that crappy AI logo. I reached out to John and I was like, hey man, could you do me a favor and try to draw me up a cool logo? He's done 6 or 7 of my tattoos at this point, and I like him as a person, but I also really like his art too. So I was happy that he was able to hook us up with something cool like that. I really love it. Stickers coming out soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. But just wanted to give a quick shout out to Moon Champs. And if you don't follow him on Instagram, follow him now. His name is Moon Champs. And if you're in the Tampa Bay area, go get tattooed, man. He's the man. Go get tattooed. So up next, I just wanted to thank all you guys who listened on Monday. I had, like I said, a pretty good viewership, I thought. And a lot of people following and subscribing and commenting, and I read all that stuff. I got a message from some guy on Reddit telling me that at a certain point the audio sounded better because I leaned into the microphone. So I'm using that today. Hopefully it sounds a little bit better on your end. I'm going to be investing a little more into some of the equipment to get rid of that static noise, but it's a learning curve for me, so I'm just trying to get better. So when you send me those messages, you leave those comments, I do take the time to read them. And I really appreciate all the feedback because it makes me better. So thank you to everyone. If you haven't liked, subscribed, followed, all that good stuff, pause the episode right now. Seriously, pause the episode right now and make sure you're following, liking, and subscribing to anything that you're watching this on. I really, really do appreciate it. And the more traffic I can get on, the bigger, faster it'll grow, and the better guests I can get on. So help me out, guys, and make sure you're liking and subscribing. But I want to do a quick introduction for our interview today. We have a really cool guest today, Jimmy Law with Dogs in a Pile. Dogs in a Pile is one of my favorite bands. I, on a whim, messaged him on Instagram if anybody would be interested in doing it. And their management team was really, really helpful, got me in touch with Jimmy. And we had a nice interview. It was 30 minutes and it was on Zoom. I would have liked to do it in person and like to be a little bit longer, but that's just the way she goes sometimes. We still had a great conversation. We spoke about Tipper. We talked about growing up with a Deadhead dad. And we talked about some girls that had a crush on him in middle school, and them commenting on his younger videos that he posted. So yeah. And before we get into the interview with Jimmy, I just want to give a quick shout out to my sponsors, One World Brewing and Devil's Foot Beverage. I'm sipping on a sparkling mango one today. This stuff is really, really good. You can get it at the Mule, One World Brewing, and a bunch of other local spots. But if you're not local to Asheville and you're still doing dry January, you need something to sip on, go on their website, get some of these, man. They're really, really good. I can't recommend it enough. And yeah, so without further ado, I'll stop talking. Let's get into my new buddy, Jimmy Law.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm.
Jimmy Law, welcome to the podcast, man. All jammed up. How are you doing today?
Clint, I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, you're actually my first interview that I'm doing, so I appreciate you coming on. It's an honor to have somebody from Dogs in a Pod be on here. So thanks for coming.
Right on, man. It's my pleasure.
Perfect. So you guys are on a pretty extensive tour right now. You're in California right now, right?
Yes, that we are, man. It's beautiful. Some beautiful views every morning right now.
That's good to hear. The fires didn't mess you guys up in your tour at all anywhere?
So they did actually. We were scheduled to play at the Troubadour just before this Crazy Horse run, and and that show got canceled the day before because of the fires. And then we moved it. We went to that show got rescheduled to September, and we played at Winston's that night instead.
Okay, gotcha. And
Yeah.
and you guys are 3 nights where you're at right now, right?
Yep, Crazy Horse. I'm upstairs at the Crazy Horse Saloon right now.
Do you guys ever find it like tough to play like 3 nights in a row, like trying to mix it up or keep it exciting? Like, is that ever an issue for you guys? Like, make a new set list?
Well, we actually just did a 4 night New Year's run
I
in
saw that.
Saratoga. Yeah, Putnam
Yeah.
Place, and that was that was the longest run we've done yet without any repeats. And we realized that we probably could have done like another couple nights without repeating. We're starting to build up our our songbook, and and we got some options now.
Yeah. I'm sure it's easy too to do no repeats when you do 47-minute jams. That probably makes things a little bit easier too, huh?
That helps, man.
Cool, man.
Fill
Well,
up the space.
and then I saw you guys too got announced on Bonnaroo for the first time.
Yeah, man, that's super exciting. I'm really stoked. I think we're gonna wind up staying an extra day too because I really would love to go see Tipper for a final, maybe final time.
Yeah, man. So I just saw Tipper this past year for the first time at Halloween, and I was like, kind of like skeptical going into it because like everyone's all my Wook friends are like, "Oh, he's so good. We love Dave," and I was like, "This is gonna be like a little too intense for me, I think." And it started, and I was like, "Holy shit, this guy's awesome." So I'm trying to swing away to get there Thursday and Friday to get to Bonnaroo too, because the
Oh,
Thursday
right
lineup's
on.
fire, and then Friday's good too.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, that's cool, man. Tipper, dude, he's outside of jam music, that stuff is like my some of my bread and butter. I that that stuff makes me feel, like a way that nothing else does, and I'm like kind of obsessed with it. We'll
Yeah,
be honest.
and he's like, I'm into some of the EDM, like the stuff like Take B and Levity of the Trees. Those guys are fun, but like it's not something I'd really put on in my car while I'm driving. But like Tipper,
Right.
dude, I bought his record and like I'll put it in the house when I'm just cleaning, just like floating through the house and everything.
Dude, he's one of those guys that he's like really like a freak, like um combined like work ethic and talent, like you know right at a certain like he's like he's got like one of those like I put him up there with like I hate to say it, but he's like as like special as like a band like Fish or the Dead. Like he's right in that caliber, just in a whole other world.
Yeah, different realm for sure. I've heard too,
Yep.
and like I don't know, I'm still new to Tipper, so I don't know too much about it. But I heard his like visual guy like makes the visuals while he's playing the music, like it's all like happening at the same time.
Yeah, so a lot of the guys that do the visuals will do like the way that they work is I guess when they're that they can do when they're live, like they make changes like right on the spot and like with the music. Tipper will pick different visual artists like pretty much every show. He actually just I went to Snowda and he just had a guy One Eye Rojan. It was his debut and it was with Tipper and it was bonkers. It was
Yeah.
wild.
I'm
Super
bummed
cool.
that I
But
found him like this late. Like now he's about to
I
stop,
know.
but I think that might just be all hype shit. Like he might be just keep this thing going.
Dude, I really hope so, man. I started seeing him in 2019, and I just hope it doesn't have to end soon because, yeah, Snowden was crazy,
Yeah.
man. It was really cool, but anyway.
Well, yeah, I want to go kind of to your roots before we get too into dogs in a pile. But like, I did do a little research on you. I saw that you started playing guitar when you were 11. Kind of your dad got you into the whole thing, and I just kind of want to hear how that started. Like, starting guitar at 11 and how what's kind of turned into for you.
Right on, dude. So actually, my first performance, like at a bigger venue was when I was like 10 or 11, I think 10 at the Stone Pony.
Hmm.
So I actually picked up the guitar a little earlier than that. I was like maybe honestly around 3 or 4 when my dad was constantly playing the Dead around the house, and
Uh-huh.
he had a couple guitars and a couple friends that played like very basic, and he picked it up and was playing like it was like Warfrat. And when I was like 3 or 4, he showed me the chords, and after that, I started just like listening to so much Grateful Dead, playing to the recordings, like the videos and all the view from the vaults. And I my dad put me in lessons when I was probably like 7 or 8, and yeah, that led me to I had my first performance when I was 10 or 11. Um, and from there, I would play in the local scene in Asbury Park. I'm so grateful to have
Yeah.
grown up in that spot. Yeah, but
Is there a certain era of the Dead that kind of resonates with you the most?
so when I was young, it was definitely that late 80, that 87 to 90 clip that like really like I
With
think
Brent?
got me when I was young. Yeah, Brent and that
Hmm.
tightness. And then after that, it was like the late 70s got me too, and since I was young, but it was um that late 80s that got me in the beginning for sure.
No love for the Pigpen days?
Dude, yeah, for sure. As I got a little older, I started getting, I was like, oh, there's some blues back in the day. But actually, to be fair, the '60s Dead, I is probably the least I have, just like put on my own.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, I feel you though, Pigpen man.
That's kind of I've kind of been like in a Pigpen like not a funk I guess, but like listening to him a lot lately. That's I feel like when the music was just like it was so raw. They were still figuring out and just having fun. They weren't really like worried about what it sounded like. You just hear like "Come on now" like in the background stuff. You can just tell they're just like going riffing and everything. I thought that was always a really fun time.
Dude, absolutely. They're like raging. They're like it's crazy because I listen to the '60s, and I think about even like listening to early on Fish, and thinking about like what we're doing and like some of these early shows right now. It's like looking in 20 years, we could be looking back and saying that this was our like early '60s or like 1.0 kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like wow, like that's what we're making right now for us, and because it's our first couple of years at this. It's just crazy this style of music, how it grows, and it has a life of its own, and if you feed it, and as you grow as a human, your music grows as well, and it changes and develops into shit that you never thought.
Yeah, for sure. Um where was I? So growing up where you grew up in New Jersey, you said your dad was really into the Dead. Were you going to like local Dead cover bands when you were young and stuff like that? Were you around that at all?
Yeah, so I was born like I lived in Tom's River when I was born, which is like 20 minutes from Point Pleasant where I live. And My dad had a lot of old school. Well, he had a lot of friends that he went to high school with around there who they were also Deadheads, and they started going shows in the '80s. And then when he moved to Point Pleasant, we realized Asbury Park is right up there, and we started going to like all like the Saint and the Wonder Bar and the Stone Pony and those kind of places. Um, Yeah, and my dad started making friends around there, and that's kind of how I started like playing music around there because he made a couple friends. This guy Waynard Scheller, who's like he's a big Dead cover guy in the Jersey Shore scene, and that's who I made my first album with, Little Jimmy and the Midnight Sun.
It's
Um,
a fire
and-
name.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and we had Donna Jean sing a couple songs on that with us because we had a connection back in the
How
day.
old are you then?
I was 10.
Damn, that is
Yeah,
badass. That's crazy.
dude, it was crazy. Me and my parents we went down to Donna Jean, to Alabama, or wait, we went to Muscle Shoals, yeah, where Donna Jean was, and I got to go to Muscle Shoals when I was 10 years old. It was insane.
So you're pro Donna. You won't let Donna sing. You're on Team Donna, right?
Let Donna sing, baby.
Hell yeah. Dude, I saw a bumper sticker the other day that said "Let Donna Sing," and I was like, I gotta get one of those.
Dude, right? Isn't that funny?
So were your parents like? This is a funny question, kind of. Were your parents like into psychedelics and stuff, like when you were a kid?
Well, when I was, I guess, I mean, my dad, as I got older, my dad told me that when he went to Dead shows, he would take a double dose every Dead show he went to.
Yeah.
And as I grew up, um, yeah, yeah, I started tripping when I was probably like 15 or whatever, and I was
Okay.
with my
That's
dad,
cool.
Fenway Park. Yeah, and he was like, it was cool because um, he was always just like, there's don't play with hard drugs, like
Yeah.
as a good parent should, and but he also knew about psychedelics, so he was always like, listen, this is different, and
Than
I know what it's
heroin.
like, and
Yeah.
yeah, and he's like, I've done this my whole life and never had any problem with this thing, like LSD, mushrooms, so he was cool with it when I was younger, and I think I like how it how it's changed my view on life and music and all kinds of
I
things.
I think that's an important thing to do though. Like if your kid is like going to like kind of that scene, like in the Grateful Dead, and you've had experience with drugs too, like it's better to tell them like it can be an okay thing as long as you're smart about it. But like when you're like 16, 17, sneaking around doing acid with trying not to get caught, like that's when shit can hit the fan. So I think that's probably the right way to do it. If you know you're going to be around it, like talk about it, be honest about it, and probably the safest way to do it.
Yeah, right. Because it seems like when you see people who like grew up and their parents were like so anti all that kind of stuff, and just like, and then when like you said, when people want to sneak it, then it becomes more like it like changes your mindset on it, and then you grow up and like maybe using it in a worse way because you didn't know the right way.
Yeah, it's like you've been told it's this negative thing your whole life, and now you're trying to enjoy it in a positive light. But it's like in the back of your head, even when you're tripping, you're like, "Oh shit, I can't get caught. I can't get caught. I'll go
Yeah,
crazy."
right, dude. That's so funny.
So I did do a little digging too, and I think you might get a kick out of this. So I went on YouTube and just typed in Jimmy Law to find, some shows, find some stuff about you, and I found a video. I don't know if you're playing at the talent show or what, but it's "Love the Way You Lie." Do you remember that video?
Wow, dude. That's crazy. Yeah, that I think that it must have been a high school talent show.
And do you
Wow.
know? So I looked at the comments on it because I'm just a comment reader. I always think the comments are funny. So I read the comments, and Elizabeth Beer 244 says, "So hot." And then if you go down, there's a girl in her. I don't know if she's like a fan, just has a fan page of you. Juliet loves Jimmy 9054, and she says he's like a John Mayer Bieber combo. And to Tina Gibb, this song is cool. Elizabeth, I doubt you'll ever get him.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Dude,
dude. So I was
that
like,
is
I
so
have to
funny.
bring that up. I was like, he probably completely. There's like 500 views on it, and I was like, he probably completely forgot about. And it said it was at the Stone Pony too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. So that makes sense. I think I opened for that must have been when I opened for Ryan Beatty. Or no, I'm sorry, it wasn't Ryan Beatty. It was one of the actually, I'm pretty sure he was one of the dudes who passed away who was in he was in it was like one of those Backstreet Boys, like I forget who it was I opened for. But yeah, and I was under this older management company, Noble Media, Alicia and Tony, they were a married couple who they did management, and Tony was a producer, and it was cool. They actually really helped me kickstart my career as Jimmy Law, actually, because we kind of like put the name together when I was working with them, and then they helped me like write some pop songs and like they were like, why don't you try doing some pop stuff, like, because I didn't have too much of a direction at the time. I knew I liked jam music, I
Yeah.
knew I liked rock music, but yeah. So then I started covering stuff like that, and I still have like I do like I definitely have some comfort singing those kind of songs still to this day. Um,
Okay.
but it's so funny that you found that, man.
Oh, dude, I was just doing some digging, so I was like, I don't want to get here and like not have any questions to ask him, and I knew it would be like something funny, so I was like, let me ask him about this.
That's
I s
amazing, dude.
There's another one too that says 14-year-old Jimmy Law is next Warren Haynes, and I don't know if you made that video or not, but was that kind of like a big inspiration for you? Start learning guitar was Warren Haynes.
Dude, yeah, for sure. Um, I didn't mention, but my dad, he started taking me to see, like, I actually saw The Dead, which was Warren, Jimmy Herring, Mickey, Billy, Bobby, Phil, Clementi, um, like PNC, like 2004, 5 maybe. And
Okay.
I could barely remember that, but Warren, my dad, I seen Warren when I was that young, and that the Les Paul and the just that thickness that Warren has. He's got such a special feel, and I actually love his songwriting too, and his voice. I love him. He's a huge inspiration for sure. I have a Warren Haynes Les Paul. His like he made a signature, and I have it on the road actually. I just don't really use it too much.
Yeah.
I used it for our Halloween show when I played in drop E or not drop, but E flat standard. I was
Okay.
using that. Yeah.
Cool. And so were you like the like a founding like it was Dogs in a Pile kind of like you started it with a friend or two and then the other guys came in, or how did like Dogs in a Pile originate, I guess?
Yeah, so I was in this band. I met a friend named Eric Villalobos who's from Bricktown, uh New Jersey, the town over from me. He had the same guitar teacher as me, and he also went to school with my cousin Kenny, who's my age and like my best friend. We're really close. Um, and my cousin Kenny texted me one day. Was like, "Hey, my boy Eric is playing at the Pony with his band East Bumblefunk, and they want you to play with them." So I was like, "Okay, let's do it." And I got to know Eric, and we did a couple rehearsals with their band, and and we played the show, and like it opened up like some connections, and then Eric met Sam from being like just because of he was local, but he was in Seagirt. So Eric met Sam, and we started jamming, me, Eric, and Sam, and Joe Babick, our drummer. I've known him. Our parents are family friends, so he's
Okay.
known. Our parents have known each other since uh I mean forever. My
He never tries to get
Joe's
you in the gym with him?
dude. Me and Joe go to the gym all on the road as much as we can, man. We love it.
I
He's
remember the
he
first time I saw you guys, I saw him and I was like, that drummer is yoked.
Yeah, dude. And he's the youngest. He's 21. It's like ridiculous, crazy.
So when you guys started, were I'm just guessing because the name Dogs in a Pile, were you originally supposed to be just a Dead cover band and then it kind of turned into your own thing?
Well, the Dead is what brought us together. Um,
Okay.
it was the one common thread between all of us. We all like different stuff, but we all like the Dead, So, and it's funny because Joey's dad actually, we were having a hard time thinking of a name, like we really were. And Joey's dad made like a list of all these names. And the first one was Dogs in a Pile, and it was like the only one that had to do with the Dead. And we knew that, but we were just like, I guess that one works. Let's try it out. And then it just stuck.
I feel that when I was making this podcast, like I had this whole idea. I was like spitting back and forth trying to think of a cool name, and my girlfriend's just stoned on the couch, and she was like, "What about All Jammed Up?" And I was like, "It's perfect. Figured it out.
Boom. That
It's
dude,
perfect."
wow, she nailed it, didn't she?
Yeah, she was like, "That was stupid, huh?" And I was like, "That's what it's gonna be called." I was like, "I'm done trying to figure it out. That's it right there." So I want to go kind of backwards. I know we talked briefly about some of those shows that you did in Saratoga, right? The 4 night run of Saratoga, you said?
Right.
Okay. So the 47-minute Charlie Jam. How do you like? How do you guys practice that? Does it like? We're gonna go for 45 minutes tonight, or does it just kind of evolve like when you guys start playing on stage?
Yeah, it absolutely evolves, man. It's crazy. Those kind of things. This specific Charlie, there's a bit of like, there's almost like a bit of history with it because like, I know it sounds funny, but like, so 2 years ago we played Putnam, and we played like our first jam that we were like, whoa, like what were we doing here, you know? And it was Charlie, and it was at Putnam, but it was like the first time or second time that we had played Putnam, and it was a 25-minute Charlie, and it was like it was like probably our longest jam at the time, and it was just like one of those jams where we were like, what was that? Like,
Yeah,
why did that happen? You know? So that was like, and actually, and the side story, like that jam, we had a day where we went to our studio in Jersey, and it was just the five of us. We all ate mushrooms together, all of us, like all day, and just hung out and jammed, and we listened to that Charlie together, and like kind of like analyzed it,
yeah,
it got into it. It was really cool. So it was like a special thing that happened for us. So it was like one of those things that you look at every time you think of every time you jam. It's like, wow, we did that, you know. And then
yeah,
fast forward, we have this 4 night run at Putnam, and we didn't even like. There was nothing behind it. We just like were making sets each night, trying to like go by the vibe of the night and connect all the dots that we wanted to. And then we put Charlie on the set. So that's where it started. We made our set. The second set, we tried to write the alphabet uh, with the first letters of each word. So
yeah.
we
Nice.
did we did Appleseed, Ben Strange, Charlie, and we had a set list written up to G, believe it or not. And we hit Charlie, and then it just opened up, and it basically when that happens, I feel like it's just like, okay, don't think. This is,
Yeah,
the jam starts, and it's like we know Charlie's one of those jams that gets there and gets deep, but we didn't know it was gonna go that deep, and it just kept going. Somebody a new idea would just connect from the previous and just keep going. It
yeah.
was it was interesting, man. And then we were like, wow, that must have been at least 35. And Ross texted us the next morning. He was like, 47. Congrats.
Dude, there's a part of that like right around the 20-minute mark of that jam because I sat and watched the whole thing the other day when as soon as you guys put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And the 20-minute mark, you guys just like completely switch up the whole vibe. It's like I was like sitting on my computer, like had it on my work computer playing, and I'm just like doing work, and then I like hear like it just, and I was like, what the fuck was that? And it was like a whole new dimension you guys like entered into for just 3 minutes, and he's like go back to what you were doing. It was really cool.
That's so funny, dude. I love hearing
What does
everyone's perspective.
Yeah, and I like hearing your guys because when I'm at a show, like any show it is, and you guys start jamming or anybody starts jamming, I'm like, how the fuck do we get here? Like, what were the events that happened in between? I want to know too, like when you finish a jam for that long, like, what's your mind at? Because like it's hard to focus on anything for like 20, 25 minutes, like anything, and you are like. The faces you make, it's like you're in a different world. So, like, kind of what's going through your head on that long of a jam?
It's crazy, man. It's almost like you're trying to like when you get into those zones, it's like you're in this like your brain's like part of it is thinking, but you're almost trying to get like all of it not to think because you're trying to be immersed fully in the headspace of the five musicians you're with, and like it's like you almost gotta, because if you're trying to do something, or if you like want you shouldn't like a player shouldn't necessarily want something to happen during one of those jams. You're almost letting it happen because you have this like the band has a life of its own, and it's like aside
Mm,
from the five lives that are in it, and it's like and it controls itself. So if you just like let yourself go on autopilot and make sure you're interlocked in between all five people, then that's where the magic happens. And then your body's almost controlling itself, and it like, and then you hear something different, and it makes you do something a little different because somebody changed something, and you're just like following each other and like just basically letting it take over you. Because once you start thinking, then things get like weird and not the best way. It kind of like you can tell
Yeah.
you can tell the force it starts to get forced, but you don't want it to sound forced. You want it to be as natural as possible, you know.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty intense. I'm not musically talented like in the slightest. Like I couldn't even play the recorder in fifth grade. So like just hearing the things that goes through your mind when you're in a jam like that, it's pretty cool to me. Um,
Dude, yeah, I was
I
just
also
talking to
noticed.
somebody. I'm sorry.
You're good. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say it's really cool because like I was just talking about this with somebody, but interviews when somebody asks you a question, and like you said, it's like a like a lot for maybe you didn't take, but like I that helps me learn about what we're doing. I may have not even knew that before I just said it to you. That's why
Yeah,
interviews are so cool.
that means I'm doing my job. I'm asking the right questions.
Absolutely, brother.
I also noticed during the one of your shows you were wearing a Bloonerism Mac Miller T-shirt. So not jam, but I want to hear kind of. I'm a big Mac Miller guy too, so I kind of want to hear like Mac's influence on anything that you've done now.
Man, I mean, I know a lot. So many people can say, and his lyricism just like speaks so truly to I just a lot of people in our generation. You just really he was just a spokesman
Yeah,
of how like a lot of us feel, which is he was hurting a lot, which is like is interesting because a lot of he's so honest, and I think that's why I kind of like relate to him a lot because I'm very like straightforward with stuff. I don't know how if I was raised, my parents and stuff, but and Mac when he talks, like you feel like you know everything about him because he
yeah,
just like and he hits all the different parts. He'll make you feel every single emotion, and like
100%.
nothing like, and you like almost everything he says, just like you're just like, yup, yup. And he pulls you out of a lot of stuff. I listen to him in like every situation he can fit for. And honestly, when I turned 25, which was this year, last time we were here in California, actually, I just had this like pretty like trippy experience when it was just like I literally just took a shower and put on some Mac. This cool unreleased playlist that's on SoundCloud of all like the like what is it, DJ Needles and like all those songs that aren't released by him straight up. But and I had like this like I felt like turning 25 is like felt like a lot of pressure, and it kind of is. It's like because a lot of things are happening when you're turning 25. It's like
Yeah,
everything, and I was just literally taking a shower and I was listening to something, and it felt like it was like a chapter turning in my life almost. Looking back, and
I'm pretty
yeah.
close to your age. I'm 28, so pretty close. But I think like just to kind of agree with you, I think the reason like Mac resonates so much with our generation is because like when Blue Slide Park came out, like I was kind of close to his age, like in high school, and then like Weekend came out, and like I was kind of growing up. Life was getting better for like Good AM, and then like things kind of started getting hard when I got out of college, and that was when like Swimming came out, and the one after he passed away. So I think like just being able to resonate with his music like at the same time in my life was like a big reason, and I think it's cool because a lot of guys our age kind of have that, and he's nowhere near the jam, but I mean he can. I know he plays with like Thundercat and John Mayer and those guys, so I think that's a really cool thing that a lot of people don't know about him. But I just wanted to hear your take on it.
Yeah, dude, he seemed like he was a very just like exuberant human being. He just like loved to he just loved he loved good fucking music and made good music and just always was in the right like I don't know. What a guy. would
Yeah,
would have loved to know him, man.
yeah. So we're coming up on our time, man. I don't want to keep you too long, but this podcast is about jam band, bluegrass, and lot culture. We haven't really touched anything on the lot. So before we go, I want you to give me just one crazy story or experience you have from a time on the lot.
Oh man. Oh man, that's funny. Dude, I'm actually just thinking about when I was like, cause when my dad's been taking me to shows since I was so young, and so like going to lot in all different parts of my life has been really interesting, like until now and
Yeah.
stuff. But it's funny. One of the first times I think I was somewhere on the East Coast. I might have been up in upstate New York. I was probably like 8 years old or something, going to a show, and did some hippie dude. He was a little older, and he ran up to me, and he was like, "You want some blue appetite?" And I had no idea what that was. I was like, "Is this guy trying to give me like a drug or something?" Because I was like so young, and I just like ran away, freaked out, because I was like, "What? What was that? Who was that?" Like I was alone, like. So that was like a weird early experience. I'm trying to think of something else that's not just like stupid story, because there's too many of those. Oh my god.
Yeah, you're good,
Uh,
man.
Damn, but lot has definitely been a huge part of my life, man. I swear. I remember I used to think when I was young, I'd be in a Dead show and the smell of weed. I was like, "Is that Bob Weir? Is that what Bobby smells like?" Literally, like that was like my like 7-year old self, like in my head at a Dead show.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I know you guys got a show tonight. I don't want to keep you too long. You guys are going to be, if anyone's listening, look anywhere the next 4 months. These guys are going to be playing there. They play a hell of a show. Hopefully, I can catch you at one of those shows. We can catch up or something, man. It was really nice to meet you.
Dude, absolutely. You too, man. Dude, hope to stay in touch.
That was legitness. Yeah, it was, huh?
Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed that interview as much as I did. Shouts out to Jimmy and his team for getting that all set up. Those guys are touring all over the place pretty much through the end of April, I think. So check their website, see where you can catch them. You're not going to want to miss them. Those guys are killing it right now. But I want to introduce a new segment of the show. So with Thursday being, a twice a week episode now, I wanted to make things a little more fun, and I also wanted to get my girlfriend Chloe involved. If you're watching on the YouTube now, you can see Chloe here. She's my girlfriend. We've been together for over 2 years now. We recently moved to Asheville a few months back, and she's really been a big supporter of me through all this, not making me seem like I'm going out of my mind for having this idea and that it was a crazy idea, which I sometimes still think it is, but she always was supportive of me and telling me it was something I could do and just had my back. So I wanted to think of something I could do to kind of involve her in this show and also make it more engaging for you guys. So every Thursday, instead of it just being me doing the outro, kind of recapping things and giving the sneak preview on music in the week and the local scene, at the end of each episode Thursday going forward, we will now have a Chloe's Corner. So tell us about it, Chloe. Tell us what Chloe's Corner is.
So Chloe's Corner, we don't entirely know what it is just yet.
And that's okay.
It'll evolve as the show evolves, but we figured it would be a good time to kind of, local vendors, shout local vendors out, small businesses, especially locally in Asheville.
It'd give you a chance to kind of talk about some of the shows that we saw this week or shows that are upcoming and or maybe crazy stories that you had this week that aren't anything related to jam bands, whatever you want, I guess.
Yeah, just something, some of the interviews itself, they're shorter than others, especially with the Zooms. So, give a little more beef where we can.
Okay. And is there anything that you want to shout out this week in your very first Chloe's Corner?
So yes, very first Chloe's Corner, I will shout out our good friend Grace. Grace is a silversmith. She's been doing it for quite a few years now. Every time she posts something, it's like she gets better and better. She is just very talented. On Instagram, she is Grace Danielle Designs, and then her website is gracedanielledesigns.com. She sources her own materials. She's definitely doing something special. Her pieces are just undeniably great. And then her as a person, sweetest soul you can find. So if there's one shop that I will always personally go to, it will be Grace.
Yeah, she's got some really awesome stuff. I've known Grace for a while too. Hopefully you guys can see this on the YouTube and on the video on Spotify. But if you go to her Instagram and then go to her website, Grace Danielle Design, she's got a bunch of cool stuff there. I believe, doesn't she do like custom stuff too?
Yeah. So I've had a couple pieces custom from her at this point. For my birthday, she had opals put into a ring and into earrings. So she does custom bits if she's got a stone you like.
Here's her website. Sorry, I'm new to this screen sharing thing.
Yep, so GraceDanielleDesigns.com or Grace Danielle Designs on Instagram.
Cool.
So we had to get the homies on the first one.
Yeah.
Give her the shout out.
Perfect. Well, yeah, Grace is a good friend of mine too. I actually was roommates with Grace for like 2 years. Wow. But Grace is awesome. She makes great jewelry, so definitely give her a check out. We can vouch for any of her stuff, and hopefully at some point we can get Grace on. She lives in Montana, so she lives in Montana, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she lives in Montana, so it'll be tough, but sometime we'll find some time to sync and get her on the podcast. Anything else you got? Anything else on your mind? People ask me, no one's asked me this, but someone's going to ask me one day, what's the hardest part about podcasting? And it's going to be...
having a 70-pound lap dog.
Yeah, can't give us space at all.
Yeah, for the people watching, this is Kid.
Kid, say hi to the camera.
Over there.
No.
Nothing from this little mind.
Okay. Well, if that's all we got, then that's all we got. You know, first episode of Chloe's Corner. It'll evolve as more things happen, and I guess that's really it, guys. I appreciate everyone who's been listening and who's been downloading the podcast, liking and subscribing. And if you haven't done it, go do it now, please. I think that's probably all that I got left, huh? Did he just fart? This might be Kid's Corner. He's stealing the show right now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, Chloe and I have a fun weekend. We are going to Charlottesville to do some interviews with, not going to name the names yet, can't give away all my secrets, but you guys are definitely going to like these interviews. We'll have a brand new show for you Monday. So again, thank you all for listening, and we will see you Monday. And remember, wherever you are right now is exactly where you're supposed to be. Have a great weekend.
Come along, have a drink with me. We can talk about the world and how the world is turned so slow. Oh, oh. Day that I found cars they drive and planes they fly. I look into the sun and the sky, you're so bright. It's you that I have found. Oh, and I know it's not much longer now. Or if the world would just slow down.